Hello and welcome to episode 2 of Size of Broken Men. I am your host, Juan, along with the boy, Marcus, MJ, whatever you want to call him. We're super excited to be recording episode 2 today. Episode 1 was really fun, and we're going to continue with this as long as we can. Today, we are joined by our very good friend, Salar.
Hey guys, happy to be here.
So, Salar, before you say anything else, I want to boost your ego for a couple of seconds and let the people know how good you are, dude.
Sure.
Salar Salar is a very good friend of ours that we have known for quite some time. He's a very educated individual when it comes to political issues and current events, which is the topic of the topic of today's episode. He has interned under how do you say it, Salar?
Oh, Fatima Deary.
That woman, Fatima Deary, during her candidacy run for state representative in House District 33 of the great state of Utah. And he is someone that we are lucky enough to call a friend. Salar, thank you for joining us. We're excited to have you here.
Oh yeah, of course. I'm happy to be here with you guys. And it's great to see this podcast taking off on all different platforms. I'm really excited. And yeah, I'm looking forward to your guys' success.
Yeah, man. Well, we appreciate it once again. We're happy to have you here. Okay. Let's get started. We did have a couple of topics that we did want to talk about. MJ, if you could kick us off with those.
So we advertise our show in a couple different descriptions over our platforms as we're minority boys. And obviously you fall under the term minority. Something that's unique to us, well, me partially, but at least to you guys, is that you guys are both kids of, I think, what do they call it? First generation immigrants.
How dare you assume that? Yeah. Wow.
I know it for a fact, right?
You're
right?
Not wrong.
It's a fact, right? All right, cool. We wanted to talk a little bit about our unique experiences and that sort of thing, because I'm half Japanese, Juan is Mexican, Salar, you are Pakistani, yeah?
Yes, Pakistani American.
Mm-hmm. So,
yeah, I wish I could say the same thing, but no, I'm full Mexican. I mean,
I want to comment on one thing you guys said in the previous podcast. I think Juan said, like, I'm the only brown person here, and I'm like, hello.
Oh, that's true.
But anyway,
I forgot about you, Salar. My bad. I forgot about you, dude.
Come on, Juan.
Yeah, my bad.
You know better.
East Asians, I think they count as brown too, don't they?
For sure.
East Asian. You could say that. It depends. Skin color is an interesting way to categorize people.
Like, it is interesting to see different perspectives on like what counts as Asian or brown or any type of minority, because like I know that if you're in Britain, from what I've heard, my sister did an intern there and she had a bit of experience there, and whenever she just said that I'm Asian, they always assumed Southeast Asian, or was that Southeast Asian? I don't think.
Or East Asian.
Yeah, they were thinking. I might be getting my terms mixed up, but they were thinking like Indian or Pakistani for whenever you just said Asian. But here, for me personally, I think of like Oriental and type of Japanese, Chinese, all that sort of thing for Asian. So it's kind of interesting to see the different perspectives, and I'm sure that's different for all sorts of different countries across the globe.
Oh yeah, no, that's true. I wanted to quickly say, like, race and ethnic categorizations, they can get kind of confusing, because, like, for example, when someone says they're Middle Eastern, like, that region is also kind of vague. Like, how do you define the Middle East? Like, is North Africa part of the Middle East? And so it can get very interesting. Also, the terms Hispanic and Latino, like, like if you're from Spain, are you Hispanic or are you European? Like, that can get interesting and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, for sure. I remember, I believe it was freshman year of high school, if I'm not mistaken. Solar, you were in that class with me, I believe.
Oh, was it AP Human Geo?
That one, yeah. That one. I remember we were learning about race and ethnicity, and I remember the teacher brought up the point that Latin or Hispanic people they have an issue, I think, with race. Is that do you know if that's right or wrong?
Right. You mean
Because
an
race
issue in
refers
terms of like
of
what to
like
call themselves? Or
exactly, yeah, that, yeah. Because I remember like for me specifically, and actually maybe you can like correct me if I'm wrong, but ethnicity refers to like what does this ethnicity? I know race
Oh
refers to
yeah.
like the color of the
So
skin, right?
yeah, yeah, I can describe the difference. So race is like your skin color,
Right.
but ethnicity is
Is it
it's
geographic?
not. So it's based on like a geographic region.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's the difference. Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember she had us fill out like something. It was similar to like a census type thing. And then I remember
Hmm.
for like the ethnicities, like obviously, like Mexico or whatever. But
Hmm.
for the race, I struggled. Like I was on it for like 2 minutes, and that's like normally I feel like it'd be like a quick
Right.
click.
That's true.
For
Yeah.
me specifically, I was like, I don't know, and I put black. I don't, I don't know why, but yeah, that was the
Hmm.
thing I put. But then
Oh yeah.
I usually pick between, like, if I'm filling one out, specifically for the census, right? I had to I usually pick either
Yeah.
black or white, and yeah, and that was an interesting concept to me. But like, it's something.
Yeah. And I wanted to just quickly say, especially for people who are Hispanic or Latino, right? So kind of with like South America and Central America, they were colonized by European powers, but a lot of these people were either Native Americans or they were Africans that were in those areas.
Right. Yeah.
And so a lot of people in what is now Central America and South America, they're a mix of many different like colors, you could say. They have a little bit of white, a little bit of black, a little bit of like so European black and like
Yeah. Yeah.
Native American blood in them. And so it can get tricky on what race to check on the form because you may have a little bit of all of them, if that
Yeah.
makes
Yeah.
sense,
No. Yeah.
because
And
of
that's something.
ancestry.
Yeah, that's for sure something that I was like, I don't struggle with it, mind you. I don't see it as like a struggle, like, oh no, poor me, right?
Yeah,
I just
that's
feel
not
like
the
it just
right
gets
word. So,
confusing.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, on like what to check on the form. And yeah, but in practice, I think it's kind of a like personally, I think it's a beautiful thing to come from multiple different cultures. Like I personally don't because both of my parents are Pakistani.
Right.
So, but I haven't taken a DNA test. There could be some other bloods within me.
So are your families are your parents did they immigrate here, or if
Yes,
that's
they did immigrate here. They weren't born here. And so kind of a little bit about that story. So my dad, he actually came to the US because of the visa lottery system. Have you guys heard about that at all?
no, can you update on, oh, can you give us a refresher?
Yeah, yeah. The visa lottery system, it's, this may be the first time you guys are hearing about this. Like I'm not
It is,
I,
yeah.
I don't think we may have briefly touched on it in like high school classes or whatever. But the visa lottery system, it doesn't exist so much today, but basically what it was like basically the US would give lesser known country, like they would allow a certain number of people from lesser known countries to come to the US, and they would basically like randomly draw their names. So they would say like, I don't know, like 200 people are allowed to come from Pakistan to the US, and people would apply, and then they would like randomly draw their names, like not from
Oh,
a
okay.
hat, but probably like some computerized system. And so my dad just got he just got randomly picked to come here. He wanted that economic opportunity, and
Right.
so he initially settled in the state of Colorado, and he started like some business ventures and things like that. But then he eventually moved to Texas, which is where I was born. And so then
Oh,
me and my parents, we lived in Texas till I was like 1 years old. Um, and then I've spent all the rest of my life here in Utah, where we're currently doing this podcast from. And so I very well consider myself a Utahn over
yeah,
Texas.
for
Like
sure.
Texas is my birth state, but like I've spent like 99.9% of my life in Utah. So yeah, that's kind of the story with my parents' immigration story.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah. So I'm a pretty open book, I think. So let's see. So I'm not born here, sadly. I made the mistake of being born in another country because
That is
kids they
not a
have
mistake.
because they have choices when they're in the womb. But yeah, I was born in Mexico. I think The state is Nayarit, Mexico. So that's where I was born.
Oh, is it near
Um,
like the border, or is it in another location?
it's farther down, I believe. To be honest,
Oh,
I sadly and I say sadly because I feel like every person, like if you're of any ethnicity, you should like learn a little bit about it. But yeah, I don't know nothing. I don't know anything. Like I know it's by like the coast, kind of. It's like a coastal
mm,
state. And
yeah.
that's as far as I know, to be honest with you. But I was born in Nayarit, and then I'm not sure what year, how old I was when I came over here. I'm looking at Marcus. He wants to say a joke.
I'm not saying anything.
Anyway, yeah. So I came over here. I think I was 2 or 3. No older than that. And then I believe the first state when I came over here, it was Utah, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, and then I've lived here for my entire life. I was raised here. I was telling, I think I've talked about this with Marcus and a couple other people, but like I don't have any, like literally no memories. I have one vivid memory of Mexico, and yeah, and that's it. I grew up here. I went to school here. I believe when I learned English, I learned it like I was informally taught it. I think I picked it up off like TV and stuff. So yeah, so but
Yeah,
I did have a couple
that's
years to learn it. Yeah.
I just wanted to comment on that really quick. One thing, like I love just watching YouTube a lot and different documentaries. And one thing I noticed about like immigrants that come here with no knowledge of the English language, what's really cool is that a lot of the time they can just learn English from like TV shows and movies, which I just
Yeah.
find really cool. And that's not something that I can relate to because I was born here in the US, So I had thankfully had the ability to learn English as soon as I was born. But if I was born in Pakistan, it potentially could have been a challenge for me, like
No, yeah, yeah.
in the school system and whatnot.
Yeah, but I know for sure English was my second language. You just pick up. I don't know. I can't say I remember anything, to be honest, but I know my mom says that I picked up English by watching a lot of cartoons like Curious George, Cyber Chase, and yeah, and a couple of others. But yeah, and that's how I learned English.
Just
That's why it's
laugh.
so bad, dude.
For my family, it's kind of interesting because obviously, I was born in America. My dad is American, born and raised here. And my mom had been living in the States for, I think, I want to say like 6, 7 years by the time I was born. So like as far as like closeness to my other technical nationality compared to you guys, I'm probably a little bit more distant. And as far as like language goes, it's kind of too bad because for various reasons, my mom decided to focus on English learning for us over teaching us Japanese. So we would at least definitely get down English if we were
Yeah,
being
Yeah.
no, and I
honest.
just want to, yeah, I just want to jump in on that. Like my mom was very much the same way, and in fact, now when I go back to visit Pakistan, so in Pakistan we speak a language called Urdu. It's very similar to a language spoken in India called Hindi. Hindi is the most widely spoken language in India. Urdu is the most widely spoken language in Pakistan. They're very similar. But anyways, like whenever I go back to travel there, relatives can notice very quickly that I'm not a fluent Urdu speaker, and they're like, "Why didn't your mom teach you Urdu when you were younger?" And this and that, and it's like, and it's just hard for us to explain that you kind of have to assimilate here because they
Yeah.
don't understand that. They're like, you know, like I am very proud of my culture, but it's like I feel like to survive in America, you kind of just have to um, almost shed a little bit of your culture, but you can also keep certain other aspects of it. But yeah, go on, Marcus. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, that is an interesting topic because it's kind of about like, if you are truly American or truly Pakistani or Japanese or anything like that, like, does it make you less of that race if depending on how involved you are with that culture or that language? And it's kind of an interesting thing that some people have to deal with. But one of my friends was her parents were from South America, and so she's come here. She was born here, and she is technically fluent in Spanish, but she doesn't always speak like the most proper, I guess. Just when she's speaking, at least to fluent Spanish speakers, she doesn't sound 100% correct all the time. So at her job, for example, where she spoke Spanish, she would, lots of customers that were jerks would give her a hard time for that. And it's just kind of too bad, dude. It's hard being multicultural.
I'm gonna interject there. I kind of get where, like, I get that. So in Mexican culture, if there's any Mexicans, like, you're gonna know what I'm talking about. You probably are. You might be one. So there's this concept, and it's called the no sabo kids. Marcus, you speak a little bit of Spanish, so you probably know the correct, like, way to say it is like no sé. Like, if you're saying someone asks you a question, and like you say I don't know, in Spanish the correct way to say is no sé. But then
No
in
sé.
Mexican culture, they make fun of kids. They're mainly kids that grow up here in America, but they say no sabo, and it's like you gotta understand. Like, I probably said that when I was like, what, 2 or 3, but then as you grow up, like, you learn the correct way to say things, specifically in Spanish.
Yeah.
And then in America, that's a big issue. It's like a no sabo kid. Dude, like, what I mean, like, if you go to like any like party or anything like that, and they're actively speaking Spanish, and like they find out you're like a no sabo kid, bro, you get roasted. Oh, you get embarrassed, and it gets really bad. Luckily, I've never had that happen to me, but yeah, it is a big issue. So I probably know where that friend is coming from. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like, I just wanted to comment generally, like, being an immigrant, it or not being an immigrant, maybe like being an immigrant or being a first generation American, it comes with its challenges, because like there's always going to be someone that might have a problem with you. Like, if you go back to your home country, they'll be like, oh, why did you forget everything? Or like, if you're here in America, you might just encounter someone random on the street that's like, oh, you need to speak like better English, or like,
that's an issue.
Or how American are you really? Like, there are questions that may arise, and so I think it's a challenge, but also a blessing at the same time.
That's kind of why I said I made the mistake of being born in another country. It's like I don't really I didn't really. I say it, but like it's kind of, I say kind of as like an ironic statement, sort of, because like obviously you're a kid, you don't choose where you're born. But like, as I said, I was raised here, like I have one memory of Mexico, but like that's it. But as for like the culture, I feel like I grew up here. I sang all the songs. Like, I remember one that it's like, I don't know, you guys probably sang it in elementary school too, but it's like I'm proud to be an American. I don't know if you guys remember.
Oh,
but
yeah.
like, yeah, and like in like elementary school, yeah. So you know what I'm talking about. But in elementary school, you sing that song, and I remember my emotions when I did sing that song. I believe I was in 2nd grade when I was singing the song. Like, I sang it with like pride and stuff, and then like years later, you learn, oh, by the way, doesn't really apply to you because you're technically not a citizen of this country. And I was like, what? But yeah, so but it is something that you have to deal with growing up, like either as an immigrant or a first generation American.
What do you guys know about Jeopardy? Starting off, like, what do you know?
So there's like a host, and I know the host's name was Alex, right?
Yes, because he passed away from pancreatic cancer.
And then I think I feel like my extent of Jeopardy goes as far as they do like to study, like you would use it to study in school sometimes, and we'd play like a game of Jeopardy. But even then, I don't know that much. It's like they ask you have to pick like a section of points, right? Is that it? Or am I wrong?
Yes, that's true. Yeah. So in Jeopardy there are like 6 categories, and basically there's like 5 different clues in each of the 6 categories. You pick like the different ones, and you keep going until they're all gone. You have to answer in the form of a question. I'm like not going to get into the rules of Jeopardy. Bore our viewers, but like so I guess Marcus, anything else you want to add to your prior knowledge of Jeopardy, like in addition to that?
Well, that's about as much as I knew as well, because I know there are all the categories and that sort of thing. Alex Trebek died, like you said, was it about a year ago now? Or
yeah, he passed away a year ago, basically. Yeah.
And so I've read a little bit about it, the issues they're having, but over the past season, from what I'm aware, they've used lots of different guests trying to find one that would be a good person for him, because he was on the show for so long and he was like the face of Jeopardy. But I also looked at the episode list, and geez, those seasons are massive. Like they have like 230 episode seasons over the course of a year. And
how many?
Like,
oh yeah,
like 230.
Oh my
Like,
god.
and they'll record
yeah.
like 5 or 6 in a session, I'm pretty sure. But
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. So let me
yeah.
let me tell you guys about that. Jeopardy, it doesn't take very many breaks. Like there's only 1 month of the year where you won't see any, like 1 or 2 months of the year maybe where you won't see any new Jeopardy episodes. Like it's very, very continuous, and it has been for like over 30 years. It's like such
Oh
a
wow.
popular show. It's a very popular show, and um like it kind of brings Americans together, if that makes sense, because you
Right.
have people like when you go on Jeopardy or when you watch Jeopardy, like no one cares whether you're a Democrat or a Republican or like a Southerner, or like there's people from
Right.
all parts of the country and even Canada that come on that show. And so it was a very unifying thing. And Alex Trebek was a very unifying figure because he was someone that just loved talking to the contestants. And so a lot of people obviously miss him. And it's not going to be the same without him, whoever they pick the new host to be. And so kind of what happened in terms of looking for the new host is that they decided initially that they would have the executive producer of the show be the host. That's what they decided, like, I think last month. His name, the name of the executive host is, shoot, I think it's Mike Jennings, something like that. I'd have to Google it. His last name, no, wait. It's Mike Richards, it's Mike Richards. Yes, so that's his name. So he actually got chosen to be the host. But then later, and people knew this even before, like while they were searching, like because obviously when like you're searching for a new host of anything, like the reporters and the media are going to look into your history because they want to make sure you have a clean record. So they had done some digging and they found out that Mike Richards was on a podcast in 2014 where he said some like really, really inappropriate things about like minorities and women, like, and they were pretty serious. And so then he had filmed 1 day of episodes. So he had filmed, like they filmed 5 episodes in 1 day. And so after that 1 day, he was like looking at the news and he's like, okay, I can't do this anymore. So he like said like, I'm not going to be the host. And I'm not even going to be the executive producer of the show. So he is, now they're going back to like rotating hosts. So basically I feel like they are sort of narrowing it down because what they're going to do is for the rest of the year, they're going to be having this woman named Mayim Bialik be on the show, like be one of the hosts. And then there's another guy named Ken Jennings. Yeah.
Was she in the Big Bang Theory?
Yes, she was.
She played
so I was going to
Amy. Yeah. Oh yeah. She's cool.
Yeah.
So I do have a question regarding Alex. What was his last name?
Trebek. Yeah.
Alex Trebek. Was he like famous prior to the show, or are they looking for someone who's like already has celebrity status to be the new host? I don't know if that makes sense.
So yeah, they want someone who is well known. Like they want a celebrity host, I guess.
No, yeah, that makes sense.
And so they're I don't know who, we don't know exactly who they are deciding between, but initially when they said that like Mike Richards was going to host the show, they said that Mayim Bialik was going to host, like, because then there's like special episodes of Jeopardy. So there's like Team Jeopardy and Sports Jeopardy. They were going to have Mayim host the spin-off versions. But now they're sort of just going back to scratch. They're like going to have rotating hosts again, and it's still all up in the air. And it's kind of for some of the fans, like I've heard interesting things on Twitter about this. Like some of the fans kind of are frustrated that they're taking this long to pick a new host. Like it's been over a year.
Yeah.
But then other fans are like, take your time, like, because this is kind of a big deal. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on this. Like, do you guys think, as outsiders, do you guys think they've spent too long looking for a host, or should they like take their time, since this is like a pretty big job for whoever is going to take over the hosting opportunity?
Yeah. So obviously, not having seen Jeopardy or that much or hardly at all, I didn't realize how big of a figure Alex Trebek was. But looking at the time commitment, especially, like that's insane that he did it for that long. So it kind of makes sense that it's taking so long for them to find a new host, because from what I've kind of seen on stuff that I've read, is that the two main hurdles that they're trying to go over is find somebody with clean record, like you said, and then somebody who's willing to commit that amount of time, because you're basically committing your life to it. And if they already want like somebody with celebrity status, then obviously they'll be probably previously occupied with something that they'll have to give up, which is why it's so hard to find somebody that's, you know, really solid to do it. So, you know, I don't have a particular opinion about whether or not they're taking too long, but a year is crazy regardless. So, you know, I hope they're able to find somebody.
So, so I did have a question. Alex Trebek, did he like pass away as like they were filming the show, or was he like retired, done with the show, and then he passed away?
No, he passed away while he was actually still filming, and that was one of the things. Is he was such a hard worker. He's like, committed. You know, he literally said like, I will not stop filming the show until like I pass away. Like, he didn't say those words, but he's like, I'm gonna fight till the end, something like that. There's many interviews of him, and he was just such a great guy. He was really committed to Jeopardy as well as like knowledge, and because I feel like in our society a lot of people find like being a knowledgeable person is kind of uncool or lame, but he what I've seen in interviews and commentary about Alex Trebek is that he made it cool to be like smart. And like I don't want to use that word smart because I think we're all smart in our own way, but like he made it cool to be knowledgeable, if that makes sense.
For sure.
The last thing I wanted to mention about this search for a new host is that another one of the guys that they're going to have on in the meantime, his name is Ken Jennings. And Ken Jennings, what's so cool about him is that he was the Jeopardy winner for 74 days in a row.
Oh my God.
Yeah. He had a 74-day streak and no one has overtaken him. And so they are thinking about making him the permanent host because he studied really, really hard for Jeopardy. And he was born in the state of Washington, but he's actually an LDS man, a Mormon man. And he spent most of his time in Utah, actually. His name is Ken Jennings. Yeah. But what's super cool about him is he won 74 days in a row, and he's been on like the Tournament of Champions. Basically, the Tournament of Champions is where they bring back old Jeopardy winners to compete against each other. And so he's just won a lot of money. He's won like over $4 million from Jeopardy and a 74-day winning streak. So
that's crazy.
That's a lot. Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah.
Something that I was kind of curious about is I didn't really think about it, but obviously this has happened during the coronavirus pandemic. So like, has that also played a part into, you know, how long it's taken
that's a good question.
to find another person, or has that like affected airing time or anything?
So COVID, it actually hasn't affected too much about how they've done the show. The only real thing that COVID has done is initially, so basically Jeopardy has 3 contestants, and initially they had the podiums all together. Like the contestants were standing right next to each other. But all they've really done to deal with COVID is they have like 3 separate podiums to account for social distancing, and then and then the host just kind of stands further away from the contestants rather than right up close to them. So it's just
was
COVID
was there a live audience like when recording and stuff?
Yes, there's always been a live audience.
And I'm assuming that COVID affected that probably.
Probably, I think they're only allowing less people, and I'm sure that they just probably have like a testing requirement or like a vaccine requirement, something like that. I don't know. That's like the inner workings of Sony Pictures. Sony is like who owns Jeopardy or something. But that's a good question.
Since then, has it gone back to normal, do you think, because more people are getting vaccinated? Do you think it's going back to normal, to the old Jeopardy?
In terms of the audience?
Yeah, or Jeopardy? Like in general, just prior to COVID. Do you think it's going to go back to that?
Well, I don't know, because I mean, Jeopardy, it's the show, it can be watched on multiple different channels, actually. And so the viewership hasn't gone down. People are still watching it, and it's like, if you're someone that has cable or Netflix, it's actually pretty easy to watch.
No, I kind of meant the production of it. Like the production people that are actually there.
Yeah, the production, it's still been going pretty strong, actually. And from what I've seen, the production team, they're very close. Like there's not a lot of turnover in the Jeopardy staff. Like they've been there, most of them have been there from the very beginning, like since the 80s. Yeah.
Since the 80s, man. I can't imagine having a job for that long.
Yeah, dude, the commitment it must take to be on that show is insane. Imagine being committed to something for how long has it been? Since the 80s. Like,
yeah.
Well, let me play. I'm terrible at math, so yeah. I was going to try to sound smart. Like, imagine being committed to something for, and then like blanked because I'm bad at math.
Yeah.
But yeah, that kind of brings up an interesting idea in general, I guess you could call it, about what's going to happen to the rest of the world after the coronavirus pandemic, or if it's going to end anytime soon. Because I mean, so many different things have been affected because of it.
Right. Yeah.
But, I think I don't want to point fingers to anybody, but I think if everybody in general was a lot more, joined together in like a concerted effort to try to end the pandemic.
Cooperative. Maybe.
Yeah. So it's kind of too bad because.
Yeah.
Well, I think the issue lies in whether or not people think it was an issue to begin with. Does that make sense? I just want to make this very clear. I'm not of this mindset. So don't try to, because I am vaccinated and stuff, but I feel like that was the issue to begin with, whether people considered it a threat or not. And and I mean, I feel like there are repercussions for it though. Like there's been multiple times now that I've seen that there's like a woman who goes viral saying like, oh, I'm not getting vaccinated, I'm not wearing a mask, and then later, by the way, this person died of COVID. And that has happened as far as I know. I'm not sure if that's like a common occurrence or something, but it has happened quite a bit, or at least the things that have gone viral that I've noticed.
Yeah, and by the way, disclaimer for all of our viewers: everything that we discuss here, be it political or whatever,
or opinionated, you could anything opinionated.
I think we said it in the last podcast.
We're not trying to convince you.
Yeah, we're not trying to change anybody's minds about anything. We're just presenting our own takes on the situation. And hopefully we don't make too many people angry. But we're not out here trying to blame anybody for like the entire coronavirus pandemic or anything like that.
Did I blame someone? I didn't blame anyone, did I?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, yeah, I said people. Okay, I think I'm in the clear. And if not, I'll deal with it, I guess. Anyway, you can continue off, Marcus. I'm scared right now.
No, dude.
Someone else talk.
No, listen. Can I just jump in really quick? Like, I just want to say something. I feel like this should be, as a guest on here, I'm feeling really comfortable discussing my views on here, and yeah, I don't think our job is to like convince anybody of anything, but I think it is important to lay out accurate information about what's going on. You know, everybody can make up their own mind, but I think what is problematic is disinformation about COVID, because and that's the beautiful thing about America and Western democracies, is that we can make up our own minds. But what I've really been seeing, and not just on COVID, is that on many different topics, and especially with the internet, there's so much disinformation out there that people can almost just market off of information that is just wrong. And people can end up like not alive or in the hospital. Like, I mean, it's up to you what you want to think about that. It's up to you what type of risks you want to take. But there's a lot to say about this topic. But what I will say is right now, about more than half of the US is vaccinated, and we're still trying to get there to herd immunity. And so people are sort of getting there, but there is still a lot of challenges with getting more people vaccinated. And one thing I found interesting is like I always thought it was going to be like, a lot of old people who like aren't as educated, like they were the ones that weren't going to get as vaccinated. But in fact, right now it's like the young people who are choosing not to get, or either choosing not to get it, or they just haven't got around to it.
So when you say young people, do you have like an age demographic specifically?
Yeah, 18 to 25.
Oh, wow.
And that's what the data has kind of shown.
Do they, I was going to say, do they count kids in that? Because I know like, has there been a vaccine approved for like 12-year-olds or like people younger?
No. So that's what they're working on right now. So they haven't approved the Pfizer or Moderna or J&J for anyone 12 and younger, but everyone 12 and up is eligible for Pfizer.
Yeah.
Um, and so, but yeah, like that's come as a surprise to me. And I think that this is, again, this is an opinion. I think it is our responsibility as young people to, put out accurate information out there and
100%.
make sure the people in our circle are getting trustworthy information, because the sad truth is that there are a lot of people out there that are profiting off of vaccine misinformation and also using it for political points.
Yeah.
And it's actually not just even Republicans. Actually, there is, you guys know JFK, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, John F. Kennedy.
You know him, right, Juan?
Oh yeah. Sorry, did I not react? Did not? Oh, my bad. Yeah, I know exactly.
Oh wait, maybe you cut out. But
No,
anyways,
I think,
like one of his relatives, like I think it's like one of his grandsons or something. He is a Democrat, but he is portraying like putting out vaccine misinformation, like, but he seems to have liberal beliefs. But like, we could go on and on about what is out there. I think what I just want to say is like the vaccine is safe, it's effective. If you want to talk to your doctor about it before getting it, I'm all for that. Like, I'm not, do your research, just make sure it's accurate research.
Yeah, and just
take your time.
To add to that point, I did want to say, like misinformation is a thing, and like we're not gonna like bash one side or the other, because I do believe that there is misinformation on both sides. So yeah, just to what Salar to add to what Salar is saying, yeah, just be careful and like do your research, like consult a professional, whatever you have to do.
One more like subtopic within this that I want to discuss is like vaccine mandates. Have you guys read anything about vaccine mandates? What have you heard about it? What are your thoughts on that?
Marcus?
Mandates by private companies or?
Yes, by private companies. There also has been some vaccine mandates for federal workers. But what have you heard, I guess, or what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's very difficult because I know there are kind of anti-mandates that are going on in Utah right now, not necessarily related to vaccine, but like I think in Utah right now, public schools can't mandate that you have masks on or anything like that.
That's yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah, and it's just very interesting to see because I think private organizations should be able to do pretty much whatever they want as far as
oh yeah, absolutely goes. Yeah,
canceled.
But in terms
no,
of
I'm kidding.
the federal mandates one way or another, it gets a lot trickier because obviously constitutionally it's hard to tell what's going on because they didn't have a pandemic when they were writing all these laws
and I like what you brought up about constitution, because lawyers are still studying this and it's still pending on the federal level, because we don't know, right? We don't know legally, because I'm not a lawyer, you're not a lawyer, so it could still be legal or it could still be not legal. There's not much precedent for it, because the only other pandemic the US ever had was like the 1916 Spanish flu, but like it was so outdated. So it's a very unprecedented time, and so it's still being played out in the courts. Well, this is what I think, right? Like, if you are working in the private industry, like I think that at some point, especially with the number of cases we're having, and some states are at a crisis level, just yesterday I saw that Alaska and Idaho are having to ration care because of the large number of COVID cases they have. And so like what rationing care means is that they are basically having to go through and so they're only dealing with, basically they can't treat patients that have a heart attack or any other medical emergency other than COVID, because there's so many COVID patients. And then even with the COVID patients that they do have, they have to go and only treat the ones, like they can, because of lack of resources, they can only treat COVID patients that are more likely to live. Does that make sense? That's what rationing care means.
That's it. The fact that it's gone to that point, I feel, is kind of sad. If I'm being 100% honest, you have to like choose. You have to. You're gonna have to prioritize one life over the other. If it comes to that, how often that happens, I'm not sure. I can't really attest to that. But just the fact that is an issue that probably healthcare workers have to deal with. And I'm sure, like, if I'm being honest, they probably deal with that regularly. Like prior to COVID, I'm sure, like in some cases, they're gonna have to, they have to choose and make that decision. But
right.
Since the difference now is that it's at a mass scale, it's at a way bigger scale than it normally is. And
yeah.
But it's just one of those. It's a consequence of, I don't know, lack of action from an individual's point of view.
Because this is another thing I want to say, right? Like, I feel like at least, I feel like the issue of masks, it got very like politicized because first of all, a mask is like a piece of cloth. And in other countries, especially like in East Asian countries, people wear masks even when they're not sick, like out of respect for maybe a sick relative, or they like, it's very normalized to wear masks when you're sick in public. Like it's something we're not used to here and in many other cultures, and it's like there's a lot of misinformation about masks, that they are lower your amount of oxygen and
I don't get how
it harder for you to breathe.
Yeah, like I can understand them being a nuisance. Like, okay, for example, this is a good example. I have glasses, right? Glasses and masks, not a good combo. Like, especially if it's cold outside, like they fog up and then you have to take them off, and then you're blind, right? So like, but it's a nuisance, but like, it's not gonna kill me. To like, so I don't mind. I didn't mind using a mask with glasses and stuff. But as to how it like limits oxygen and stuff, I don't know. I think I've seen a video with like some asthmatic guy. He's like, I'm gonna wear like 5 masks, do a mile run and see how I feel.
Yeah.
And like he was fine after, or like, so I don't know.
And I just want to make like I just want to make one quick comment about masks, and then I guess I'll hear Marcus's thoughts on it. It just bothers me when I hear people who are anti-maskers call people who choose to wear masks, they call them really bad names. Like they call them sheep, they call them like they can't think for themselves. Like, so you're trying to tell me that like, because I'm choosing to like protect my own health, that I'm some animal. Like I don't like the name calling. Like you guys know that I'm a very positive person. Like I don't like to name call. I don't like it at all.
He's lying, everyone. He's a big bully. He bullied me all through middle school.
And so that has what really bothered me about this whole COVID situation is people have been name calling and like.
Yeah, I feel like if it affects, it's the main issue is that it affects other people, to an extent. And like if you don't want to wear a mask, at like a privately owned
the owners have the right to refuse you, like
like there's been so many, and it's a mixed feelings word, but you guys all know what it means, probably Karen. It's like, oh, like this Karen didn't want to wear a mask or whatever.
The debut of the word Karen on the show, we knew it was coming.
Like but like some Karen doesn't like, oh, I don't want to wear a mask, and then she's like, it's my constitutional right, and then like,
but it's like but private businesses,
they have the right to refuse. They have the right to refuse.
They have their own rules. Like private businesses follow rules from the government, but it's like private business. So like, let's say your state doesn't have a mask mandate, so Utah doesn't have a mask mandate, but since it's a private business, it is not really receiving government funding, so it can, choose to like refuse service to you.
Right. Yeah. MJ, what are your thoughts?
I mean, there are so many things that we can talk about this coronavirus pandemic. There are so many different aspects to it. I mean, it's a global pandemic, so of course there are, but I just think that so many things that it comes down to. You were talking about like name calling, and it happens both ways all the time. I mean, anti-masker is not exactly a kind term either. Obviously, it's factually correct, but
it is factually correct, though. I mean,
So it's factually correct, but obviously it has all these connotations too, and obviously there's not a lot of civil discourse between the two sides, and I think just so much of the coronavirus pandemic has shown that the human race doesn't get very far or do very many amazing things if we don't make an effort to get along with each other. And like, as far as like, I don't know, any part of the pandemic goes, we haven't been unified very much in all the decisions we've been making, or that anybody has been trying to do. So if we can just, care about each other a little bit more, and I mean, like masks themselves, like they do a lot less for you health wise than they do for others. So it's a lot more of an outward kindness sort of thing. So if we can just focus more on that aspect of thing and just caring for others and trying to bind together and getting this whole thing over for as quickly as we can, because I think everybody can agree on that. Well, most people can agree that they want the pandemic to be over. That would be a really great thing.
This is like one of the more political things I wanted to discuss with you guys, but it also has like kind of it has both sides to it, this story. So right now, Biden is trying to pass two different bills through Congress, and these bills are super important to like both parties in a way. So one of the bills is like an infrastructure bill, and so the bill would basically strengthen the American infrastructure system. And so, but before I get into that, what do you guys think about U.S. infrastructure? Like infrastructure is roads, bridges, even things like internet and water.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you to define it for people who might not know. So infrastructure, I think in the United States is specifically is really bad, super bad. I saw a video the other day, and like I can't say exactly what it was, but I don't remember exactly what it was, but they were talking about how the current infrastructure system that the United States has was not meant to last this long. It had to be. It was meant to be updated years ago, and it's past
breaking point.
It's breaking point, but we're still using it. And it's things like such as in generators, bridges,
bridges,
yeah, and a bunch of other stuff like this.
Even some people like, do you know what broadband is? Like broadband and internet service, and things like that.
Yeah, like cell towers, like stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And it was not meant to last as long as it has. But like, for whatever reason, whenever it like get broken, it like get like just a certain part of it would get fixed, and due to that current maintenance, kind of maintenance, for whatever reason, it's lasted longer than it originally was planned. And since it had lasted longer, they're like, oh, it's fine. And that had kind of been the mentality with it. But with Biden's new plan, I'm not saying it's great or not, because I don't know too much about it.
Because you haven't read about it.
Yeah, but it would implement a lot of like new technology, new like
that's true. Yeah. One of the things, I wanted to jump in on the new technology thing, because one unique thing Biden wants to do, and this is also to address climate change a little bit, is he wants Americans to start using more electric vehicles. And how he's going to incentivize that is he's building more electric charging stations for all different brands of electric vehicles. But yeah, carry on with what you were saying before, I guess.
Oh yeah. Well, like the point I was trying to make is I don't know too much about Biden's new bill, but I'm assuming like it has a lot of positives that, like, if you lean left, like you'll view it as a positive. Obviously, if you lean right, there's going to be negatives. There's going to be people who oppose the bill and stuff.
Yeah. One thing I've noticed is like I don't have too many of them in my network, but what I've noticed is like a lot of younger Republicans are actually seeing climate change as an issue. I actually do have like this one connection. Like I don't know him personally, but it's someone I follow on social media, and he is a University of Utah student. He's a Republican, but he actually wants to do something about climate change. So I think young people as a whole, regardless of party, like I think we're starting to realize that like the older generation is kind of just like, okay, peace out, guys. It's all yours now. Like,
yeah,
I think slowly we are realizing like climate change is kind of a big deal, and it is real, and it is going to have effects on us, whether we see it now or later. What are your thoughts on this, Marcus? Like, where do you think the tide is, I guess, on this issue of climate change in the US or in the world?
That was a good one, Salar. Tide, get it? Tide is.
Oh, was that? I didn't mean that to be like a pun.
Oh wow.
You totally did. No,
Yeah,
that
This
was a great
come on.
one. Well done, Salar.
That was not planned. That was not planned. Just for the record, that was not planned.
It
Anyways,
was good.
Poetic brilliance is very nice.
Okay.
But yeah, about climate change and that sort of thing. I, as a relatively antisocial person, am not super aware of the general consensus among my peers about whether climate change is real or if it's an issue or not. But kind of relating how the trends I see in other arguments that are the real divisive ones in America. I'd imagine misinformation plays a huge part, and it's just people debating about things when they don't have the same basis to argue off of. So, like for example, I don't know. I knew one of my friends recently. Like she cares about climate change and all this sort of thing, but she isn't a fan of all of the movements to actually implement changes to it because she thinks that they're focusing energy onto the wrong areas of it, or the moves that they're using aren't working as effectively, and the cost is too much, or that the whole situation in general might already just be too far gone to even bother doing anything about it. So I think in lots of ways it's more complicated than either side treats the other side. So I think that's probably a huge issue as to why nothing has actually happened about it.
Do you want to like maybe say some of your personal thoughts on the issue of climate change, or I guess, or I guess, do you not?
Yeah.
I dare you.
Or do you not know enough to make an informed decision? Like,
yeah, to be fair, I don't pay
thoughts.
that much attention to climate change. I think that's probably an issue for lots of people since climate change, unless you put effort into it, it doesn't affect your everyday life really, which is probably why it's such an issue that people try to publicize so much. But yeah, me personally,
I would disagree.
Well, no, like I think I can give an example. Like Salar, the ice caps are melting. Do you care about the polar bears?
But it's not just but it affects us too.
Okay, no,
it's
okay,
gonna
but
cause
like
rising sea level.
But the like no, yeah, I know that. First off, okay, I want to say I know this stuff.
Yes.
But like if you see like an ad campaign or like a post, a very political post on Instagram, they're gonna show like a polar bear and its cub, and like say, oh, it's gonna die.
Sure.
But then there's like Billy Bob Joe down in South Carolina who's like, I don't care. It's
so that's
one
one thing I wanted to comment about is like I don't think it's smart to like scare people about it, because I don't think scare tactics work for any type of campaign.
Well,
like
I'm not saying it's like necessarily a scare tactic, but like if you like hit people's emotional, or like they'll show. So like, okay, let's go back to the polar bear. It's gonna show a polar bear and its cub like on an iceberg, and it's going down, it's sinking, and they'll use that to like get to emotion, like, oh, by the way, like be mindful of whatever. But then there's a person who's like, it's a polar bear, it's an animal, like who cares? I can go look at one in the zoo. I can Google a picture and see one. And I feel like maybe I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure there's someone who like probably agrees with that, who has that mentality. Is like, it's like I don't care enough about another animal unless it affects me, unless it starts to affect me directly, and like it is affecting me, but not so much to where I need to take any action. MJ, sorry, we interrupted you.
Nah, man, it's fine. Interesting stuff. More the point that I was trying to make is that I think for lots of people it's difficult to see how climate change directly affects their lives, which is why there is more potential for the spread of misinformation or just people not caring about it in general. Yeah, for me personally, like, yeah, climate change is something that I'd like to improve upon, and like I think it's important, but it's so easy to
it's hot
or not care because
guys, I have a cool pun to put in here. It's a hot topic. It's not very creative.
That was good. Good.
Okay.
It was so bad.
Forgot about that
one. Sorry, what were we talking about?
I think Marcus said like he cares about climate change, but it's like you don't think about it like 24/7 or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
You're not conscious about it.
It's such a long-term thing that it's hard to even not comprehend, but to kind of conceptualize the impacts and the devastation that it'll result in if we don't do anything.
Don't make serious changes.
Okay, well, can I say, like, everything I've said up to this point was the mentality people could have. It's not necessarily mine. So my mentality or my opinion regarding climate change is, bro, summers are hot, dude. It's gonna get hot.
And in my opinion, I think, well, and it could be an opinion or a fact. I think summers are generally getting hotter. I think the data is showing.
You may be right, because dude, I'd be sweating so much, like during the summer. I went longboarding for like 10 minutes one time, and then my shirt was like drenched. So, like, do your part, dude, just to make my life a little better, because like it gets hot. Like and we're in Utah, it's not too bad. Like we got the mountains.
You mean it's not too bad?
It's not too bad. We got the mountains, and you have to say it like a Utah, like a mountains, no T's. Yeah, and it gets hot, so yeah, do your part. Sorry. What else?
I like that.
Yeah.
No, I like the lightheartedness that we're bringing to this conversation, because I
don't want it to get too serious. So
serious. No, absolutely. And I agree with you guys. I think with any topic, and when it comes to having any civil conversation, I think we need more lightheartedness and be able to sort of laugh at certain aspects of the situation where appropriate, per se. But yeah.
This that we wanted to talk about was, so recently in the news, there has been a lot of reporting about a woman called Gabby Petito. So did you guys read up on it?
Yes, I've seen a lot. I'm very informed on the Gabby Petito and Brian Laundrie case. What about you, Marcus?
Yeah, so for me, like, I have done very well to skim and be pretty much like minimally informed. So I don't know that much about it. So if you guys could kind of give me all the beats.
Yeah, I'll let Juan take this one over, because
okay, yeah.
I gotta breathe. Just kidding. I'm good.
So Gabby Petito apparently, so it was reported that she and her husband were having like some sort of
fiance.
We're having some sort. Okay, so like a big background. These are two people that like they do like van life type things, right? They travel.
Yeah, and they posted it on YouTube.
And they posted on YouTube. So they have a good following, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. But the woman just suddenly went missing. I don't want to say suddenly, but she kind of just went missing. And they talked to the fiance. What was his last name? Salar?
Oh, his last name was Laundrie. His name is Brian Laundrie.
Yeah, so they talked to Brian Laundrie.
Not Laundry, like I mean, actually, it does sound the same, but.
No, nothing. It's just for the rule that he has in the case. Just kind of a funny name to have.
Anyway, so yeah, Brian Laundrie, and
now we're just gonna laugh at that.
Anyway, okay, so the wife, or the fiance was found, or not found. She just suddenly went missing, because Brian Laundrie returned from their trip and she was not
without
working.
her.
Without her, and within 10 days. Do you know how soon, like, the parents?
Within 10 days of him coming back is when they reported her missing.
Yeah, they reported the Petito family reported their daughter missing.
And it was like they reported her missing on September 11th. Actually, was the date. Yeah.
And so anyway, the story goes on to like it was a big issue. They obviously suspected
she was found murdered actually in Wyoming.
Say that. Yeah, I was about to say that.
Sorry, I kind of spoiled.
No, it's fine.
100 spoiled the story.
So the husband, or the fiance, Brian Laundrie, was considered a person of interest, not a suspect, but rather a person of interest for the case. And when the police would question him, he didn't say anything. Like, apparently he wouldn't speak, but that was on the advice of his lawyers. Like, don't say anything. And recently, fairly recently, this week, something like that, they found a body that resembled the description of Gabby Petito. and then very recently, like a couple of days ago, they confirmed that it was her body, and they recently confirmed that it was a homicide. And since then, the husband has gone, or the fiance, Brian Laundrie, has gone missing. Marcus, don't smile, dude.
Yeah.
Bruh, nah, I was smiling because you said husband instead of fiance for the third time.
Fiance, okay, yeah, fiance. Yeah, he has gone missing. He's gone like on the run, and I don't know if I don't think he's been found yet, has he?
He hasn't been found yet, I don't think, but it's developing as we speak. They're looking for him. So where they think he went was like Florida. Gabby Petito. So yeah, they lived in a city called some city in Florida, but it's like Southwest Florida. The police think he didn't go all too far. They think he went to this nature reserve, which is really swampy and stuff. There's alligators, there's like all kinds of bugs. So they have to use really special equipment to find him. But what's really interesting,
I saw that and I was like, bro, just get one of those like hounds, you know, like in the 1980s that they use like the police dogs, but like it'd be like that, like a bloodhound or whatever. I'm like, Jesus.
But how are they? No, they have bloodhounds, but how are they going to go in the water to search for him? Because they're having to do water searches.
I'm not a dog, Salar. I wouldn't know. Anyway, sorry. Continue.
Yeah, so they're looking for him in that area. But a lot of like internet sleuths and people who are following this case closely on TikTok are suspecting that he may not even be there, because the reason they're searching the Florida Nature Reserve is because that's what Brian's parents told the police. But I don't think that Brian's parents are telling the truth, because why are they being so secretive? Like, I feel like he could be in another state or potentially even Canada. Like, there's a highway next to that nature reserve that goes all the way to Canada. So I feel like he could be much further out. Like, we don't know. That's just my thought, you know?
Detective Salar over here. Wait, so the reason we started talking about this is not specifically for the actual story, but rather what like another like interesting topic that came about this was yeah, Salar, you can intro this. Actually.
It's called I think I've seen that term. It's called like missing white woman syndrome, right? Yeah. And it's kind of this the media's emphasis and also the public's emphasis on missing white people, which is important, but they usually don't emphasize missing people of color, like Native Americans or Black people. And it's kind of sad because it actually has an effect on them. I was seeing in the news that like it makes the parents feel like that their missing child's story doesn't matter as much.
Yeah.
Does that, you know?
Yeah. So I am gonna play devil's advocate again.
We should just edit devil horns for one for our YouTube content.
So okay. So again, this isn't okay. I just want to make it very clear again. This is not my personal opinion. I probably won't state my personal opinion, but I will do the devil advocates thing. The reason Gabby's case or her disappearance got so much traction is because like they're content creators. You know, they like that was their job. So, they created content.
But then you don't think it had anything to do with race then? Like, you think if it was Black content creators, they would have gotten as much attention? Like, I
don't know, maybe. Like if I'm being maybe not. But I think specifically for this one to blow up, it was because like again, they were content creators. They had probably thousands of followers, and then it just blew up that way. Of course, I feel like devastated. Like it's so sad that that there's. I think I saw a post today. It was like there's like over the past month there's been like, or I don't know how long. I don't know the time frame, but there's been in the same area where she was reported missing. There's been 710 Indigenous, mainly girls, missing, and like none of them get as much traction, which like that is super sad. But yeah, again, just to play the role, I do think it was part of the reason was because she had they had a following.
Yeah. And I think just the last thing I want to say is that a missing persons case is really, really hard for the family. And I just think the most important thing, especially, is for the media to respect their privacy. Like, I know, but also a lot of them want to speak to the media so they can get help too. But, you know, I just hope that this all resolves, and I hope that whatever the truth is, that comes out. But I think this story has a lot of implications, a lot more things we can talk about. I think this podcast, we've talked a lot. We could go on and we could even do a follow up on this story, hopefully.
Anyway, I think this is the end of the podcast. Thank you guys so much for viewing and listening. You guys can follow us on MJ. Help me out. What is it? YouTube, Spotify, SoundCloud, Instagram, and TikTok. All under Size of Broken Men. Salar, thank you for joining us. It's been a pleasure. If there's anything you'd like to plug, feel free.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, I'd love to plug in my LinkedIn page, my Instagram page, and my Twitter page. My Twitter and Instagram are at Salar UT. So my first name, my last name is AHMD. I don't know if I'm spelling it out.
No, you're good.
So I've got Instagram, Twitter, and then just my LinkedIn page. If there's any cool working professionals out there that want to connect with me on my LinkedIn page. And that's it. Thank you guys for having me on.
Yeah, man. Make sure to follow him. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. Give a subscribe, give a thumbs up. And yeah, we'll see y'all later. Bye.